The strength of the Wolf is the pack, the theme for the 2005 Redemptorist football team. With the unbelievable events that would unfold throughout the year, it was truly appropriate. Not a single Wolf could be prepared for the adversity which lie ahead. It would definitely take the pack. These Wolves would become united like no other, led by a large senior class, determined to make amends for the first-round playoff exit of the previous year and to leave their mark on the storied program. The abundance of experience returning for the Pack convinced Coach Guy Mastretta that the time was right to make major changes in the program for the first time in nearly a decade. The Wolves would hire 5 new position coaches as well as 2 new coordinators. Chris Towery on offense and Doug Dotson on defense would install new schemes for the first time in 8 years. With 16 returning starters and the drop back to 3A, expectations were high throughout the Wolfpack Nation, and the Wolves opened the season as the preseason favorite to win District 8 3A, ranked number 2 in the Class 3A preseason polls. Only a state title would satisfy these early expectations. Still, no one could have predicted the adversity the Wolves and the entire state of Louisiana would face throughout this season. returning from the annual boot camp, which was moved to Percy Quinn State Park in Mississippi.
Playing hard every snap. Things go wrong, we go to the next play. Always the next play. The next play is the most important.
Wolves are ready to take on all challenges because of the confidence developed through a most successful offseason. Yet they had no idea how important the strength of the pack would become over the next 15 weeks. In the All-Catholic Jamboree, the Wolves would face longtime crosstown rival Catholic High. Both teams had anticipated this contest throughout the summer, and the intensity on the field was evident from the onset. In front of the packed house and playoff-type atmosphere at the Rock, the Wolves and Bears again competed in a heated contest not decided till the final play. Behind the running of Brandon Bravata, subbing for the injured Brent Grimes, Redemptorist would take an early 7-0 lead 7 plays following a Catholic High fumble on the game's first play. Midway through the second half, the Wolves jump ahead 13-0 on Bravata's second score of the night. With 3 minutes to play, the Bears close the gap to 13-7 and recover the ensuing onside kick in Wolves territory. The Black defense rising to the occasion, holding Catholic on 9 plays from inside the 20-yard line. And with Josh Vigor's interception on the game's final play, bragging rights between the Wolves and Bears remain on the north side. Coming off the emotional Jamboree victory against Catholic High, one in which Coach Mistretta spoke of preparing the team for the tough road ahead, the Wolves were looking forward to renewing an old rivalry with Central. Adding to the storyline was the fact former Redemptorist coach Sid Edwards was now coaching on the Central sidelines, and the Pack was excited about the challenge. Hurricane Katrina would have different plans, though. The Category 3 storm tore through the Gulf Coast, causing immeasurable damage, including excessive flooding throughout the New Orleans area. The greatest natural disaster in our country's history brought chaos and change to the entire Gulf Coast, including the cancellation of all Week 1 football games in southeast Louisiana. With the Central game canceled, the Wolves went about doing their part to help those in need. Over the next 8 weeks, the players and coaches would join in relief efforts by volunteering at local shelters, donating needed items, and even sharing the Wolves' Den with a National Guard unit from Tennessee. Redemptorists also welcomed nearly 200 displaced students to campus, including 9 football players. 6 of those players remained throughout the season and became true members of the Wolfpack family. There were many teams forced to cancel Week 2 games as well, but with a scheduled matchup with top-ranked Notre Dame on tap, the Wolves were ready to get back to the field. Not very often do the number 1 and number 2 teams face off this early in the season, but that was the case as the Wolves traveled to Crowley to face the Pioneers. Redemptorist was excited to finally be playing on the game's first play from scrimmage. Brent Grimes races 80 yards for a Wolfpack touchdown and a 7-0 lead. Point forward, the game would turn into a battle of field position, an outstanding defensive play from both teams. Notre Dame would win field position and capitalize on 2 Redemptorist turnovers for what proved to be the deciding factors in a 16-7 Pio victory. As Coach Mistretta suggested after the game, if the Wolves would commit themselves to getting better each week, they would get another shot at Notre Dame. On this night, the Pioneers showed why they were ranked number 1 in the state and were the better team for now. Coming off the tough loss to top-ranked Notre Dame, the Wolves returned home licking their wounds and determined to get back to their winning ways. In its last 42 games, Redemptorist had lost only 5, and the Wolfpack Nation was still stewing over that 5th loss when the Leesville Wampus Cats came for a visit to the Rock. As if the Wolves hadn't already dealt with enough weather issues brought on by Katrina, this night would see a lightning storm settle over Magella Field, delaying the contest 95 minutes. The delay wouldn't affect the Wolves as they overpowered the visiting Cats 40-0 for their long-awaited first win of the season. The Redemptorist offense had a breakout performance, racking up 380 yards in a balanced attack. The Wolves would get scores on the ground from Brent Grimes and Justin Rogers, as well as through the air from Rogers to Torrin Dixon and Ryan Mastretta. The Black defense did its part as well, holding Leesville to under 100 yards of total offense, not allowing a first down until well into the 4th quarter, and allowing the Wampus Cats to cross midfield only twice throughout the game. D-Day had finally arrived for the Wolves, but the first district game of the season would be postponed due to yet another hurricane. Less than a month after Katrina, the South Louisiana coastline would be assaulted, this time Hurricane Rita pounding southwest Louisiana, causing many games to be canceled or rescheduled once again. After 2 days' worth of discussions, the administrations of Redemptorist and West Feliciana finally agreed to play this contest on Sunday afternoon, with the Wolves making the short trip north to visit the Saints. As usual, West Feliciana came out ready to play and took it to the Wolfpack. Under hot, humid conditions, the Wolves fell behind early when the Saints scored on a fake punt in the first quarter. Down 6-3 at the half, the Pack went about making adjustments and played the second half with renewed enthusiasm. Scoring 34 straight points, including a punt return for a TD by Terrell Alex. The Wolves cruised to their first district win of the season with a 37-12 victory. Following a short week of preparation, Week 5 would have the Wolves back in the friendly confines of Magella Field, a showdown with Northside neighbor Baker. The Buffs were coming off a big win against district foe Bruley. Coach Mastretta warned the Wolves they would have to bring their A game in order to come out of this one with a victory. The Wolves listened raising their level of play, winning 33-7, improving to 3-1 on the year. Led by senior running back Brent Grimes, Redemptorist would grind the ball against the Buffaloes, controlling the game from the onset. Grimes rushes for 235 yards on just 19 carries, leading the offensive charge for the Wolfpack. Torrin Dixon continued to shine, catching the football as well, helping the offense record its first 400-yard performance of the season. The defense, returning from a lackluster performance a week earlier against West Feliciana, stepped it up at the Rock and held the Buffaloes to under 100 yards of total offense. The Black D especially shined against the run.
If he pitches it quick, go to the pitch him automatically. He's got to run all the way from the top. Give him some time, B. What a great kid, John. What a great kid.
The district record now 2-0 sends a message to the rest of 8-3A. The road to the championship would have to come through North Baton Rouge.
Hey, this play's about pride. Get the ball, drop it in the end zone. Come on. Roll up. All right, here we go. Get some pride on line. Get some pride on this. Hey, Coach, say that again.
Louis Holmes, 16, Utah 1. Louis Holmes, 16, Utah 1. Roger 24, burrito 1.
Bruley would be the Week 6 opponent for the Wolfpack Nation, all too eager to take the short trek across the river to meet an old foe. Going into this game, the Wolves knew to expect a battle, as the coaching staff had preached all year long every game in the district would be a battle. This would sound prophetic, as the Pack would have to hold on to survive in the game's final minutes. Redemptorist left a couple of scoring opportunities on the field in the first half and led only 7-0 at the break. Following an early second half touchdown, the Wolves drew Bruley offsides on the PAT try, and Coach Mistretta sent out the jumbo package to go for 2. This would prove to be pivotal, as the Panthers were able to put together 2 fourth-quarter scoring drives of their own against the tough Redemptorist D. A failed 2-point conversion attempt after the first score would leave Bruley down 15-14 with 5 minutes to play. The home team would get one last chance, but the Black D stood tall, causing the Panthers to turn the ball over on downs, allowing the offense to run out the clock. After being outgained both on the ground and through the air, it was the strength of the Pack that proved to be the difference for the Wolves in this game of survival. Through a total team effort and emphasis during a weekly practice that we will not be beat in the fourth quarter, the Wolfpack able to come out victorious 15-14 and move to 3-0 in district play. Week 7 had the Plaquemine Green Devils making the trip across the river to the Rock for a second year in a row. The Wolves vividly remembered the previous year's contest, in which Redemptorist led big early, only to have to hang on for a 28-21 victory. Plaquemine gave the Pack little respect after that game, blaming the loss on officials and turnovers. The Wolfpack determined to leave no doubt this time around. It was obvious early that these were two teams headed in opposite directions. The defense continued to find its rhythm, the offense finding yet another weapon in Keon Thomas, who could catch 2 touchdowns from signal caller Justin Rogers. Brent Grimes added another 2 touchdowns and 185 yards on the ground as the Wolves rolled to a resounding 34-12 victory.
Why we did over to get him out of there, and we had actually
At 5-1, 4-0 in district, the Wolves were now set for the stretch run to the district title. The Pack now face the other top 3 teams in the district on consecutive weeks. Homecoming festivities would highlight Week 8 for the emerging Wolfpack.
The 2005 Redemptorist homecoming queen is Brandon Ballard.
Let's go. Let's do it. Cover. Everybody. Let's go. Here we go. Down. Break shot.
Riding a 5-game win streak, Redemptorist would welcome the Capital Lions to the Rock for a contest between two highly explosive and dangerous offenses. The Wolves would get off to the very good start with Roderick Claiborne taking the opening kickoff, 79 yards for the score. Late in the first half, Dedrick Wolf made a highlight reel catch from Justin Rogers, putting the Wolfpack ahead 12-0 going into halftime. In the second half, it would be the Black D that would step up and tighten the clamps down on the cage of the visiting Lions. Besides a 2-yard scoring drive following an interception, the Wolves would keep Capital from crossing midfield the entire second half. In a game billed as the high-scoring affair between two explosive offenses, this would be a Redemptorist defense shining the brightest. The Black D held their 6th opponent of the year to less than 100 yards rushing, sealing an 18-10 homecoming celebration for the Wolfpack Nation.
Okay, he is in there.
Was upon the Wolves, and needing just one more win to set up a much-anticipated district champion showdown the following week, the coaching staff would borrow a phrase often used by Coach Dotson's father, the legendary Bill Dotson. In order to keep the team focused on the task at hand, the staff continually urged the Wolves to keep sawing wood. The challenge for the Black D would be containing the athletic Vikings of Northeast and their explosive running back, O.J. Gallo. Gallo, leading all rushers in 3A, averaging 165 yards a game, made the error-fatal mistake of calling out the Wolfpack in the week leading up to the game. Northeast would strike first on a pass late in the first quarter, taking a 6-0 lead. Redemptorist, though, answers right back with an unconventional touchdown of their own. Lineman Jonathan Lane catching a fumble in midair and diving into the end zone for the score. A 2-point conversion run by Brandon Bravada and a diving catch in the end zone by Landon Sloan put the Wolves up 14-6 at the half. Behind an early week challenge by Coach Pope, the defensive front four dominated, holding the Vikings to -6 yards rushing in the first half. This forced Northeast to throw the ball right into the hands of Reggie Weems, who finished with 3 interceptions on the night. The offensive line came of age in the second half, allowing Brent Grimes to rush for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns, upstaging Gallo, who finished with 3 yards on 9 carries. The dominating 36-6 victory did indeed set up district championship showdown with you-know-who. Week 10 had finally arrived, and the matchup everyone anticipated was set. Riding a 7-game win streak and ranked number 4 in the 3A polls, the Wolves welcome undefeated and number 2 Parkview Baptist to the Rock with the 8-3A title on the line. Both teams were familiar with this type of scenario as well as with each other. The Parkview Redemptorist rivalry had become an event as the two programs rose to Class 3A prominence in the late 1990s. Each team winning a state title in 3A before the Wolves moved on to Class 4A, winning a title in that class as well. Now back in 3A after a 2-year absence, this is the game everyone in the state wanted to see. Media hype began early in the week, billing the matchup of the stingy Redemptorist defense against a powerful option offense for the Eagles.
Hey, no down and distance. No down and distance. Okay? Let's go. All right?
In front of a standing room only crowd at Magella Field, the two teams would not disappoint. The Wolves offense, overlooked during the week, opened this game with its best drive of the season, going 78 yards in 16 plays, taking nearly 7 minutes off the clock. A successful 2-point conversion put the Wolves up 8-0. The defense did its part for the remainder of the half, keeping Parkview from crossing midfield. Headed to the den, still up 8-0. Parkview did not take long to strike in the second half, tying the score at 8 with 9:29 remaining in the third period. Both defenses then taking over from there, forcing short drives and trying to gain field position. With 4 minutes to play, quarterback Justin Rogers rose to the occasion, quickly driving the Wolves into Parkview territory, before connecting with Torrin Dixon for a 42-yard go-ahead score. An unsuccessful two-point conversion left the Pack with a precarious 6-point lead with 2:45 remaining.
All the hard work pays off right here. Leave it on the field. Leave it on the field. Let's go. Let's go. Leave it out there. Let's go.
Parkview would rally as well, driving the ball deep into Redemptorist territory with time running out. However, the Black D would stand tall in the end. The ball at the Redemptorist 8, the Eagles threw twice into the end zone. Darrell Glasper there to defend both passes. And the Wolfpack claimed yet another district title, its 4th in a row. A mad celebration ensued at midfield. It would not be the last. With the victory over number 2 Parkview combined with Crowley's upset of number 1 Notre Dame, the Redemptorist Wolves would enter the 3A playoffs atop the polls. Seeded 6th, the Wolves would be matched up with number 27 Baker in a rematch of the Week 5 game. Although the Pack had defeated the Buffaloes 33-7 in the regular season, this was the playoffs, and Baker returned to the Rock with an equal opportunity to move on to round 2.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Much of the Wolves' success late in the season could be attributed to the emergence of Justin Rogers as a team leader and threat to make big plays, either throwing or running at any moment. This game would be no different as number 10 would throw for 175 yards and rush for another 102, leading the offense to a dominating performance. Wolfpack registered its highest offensive production of the season, amassing 448 yards and accounting for 52 points. 5 different Wolves found the end zone in the game.
There's no dice throwing the ball. Let's go, let's go.
Hey, bring it up. Down and distance right here. Hey, down and distance. Hey, hurry on. We're pulling the foot away from the trip, so you'll be in a pass. Wide here.
Brent Grimes had another solid performance as well, showing his versatility as an all-purpose back, 95 yards rushing and 80 receiving, including 2 touchdowns as Redemptorists rolled into the second round with a 52-14 victory. first-round upsets in the 3A bracket, Redemptorist would face yet another District 8 3A opponent in round 2. Number 11 seed Northeast upset of number 2 ranked and defending champion A-Meet meant the Wolves would return to Pride for the second time in 3 weeks to face the Vikings on their home field. Not only was the coaching staff concerned about a second consecutive rematch against an opponent the Wolves had already beaten, but the Pack would enter the contest with quarterback and team leader Justin Rogers on the sideline with strep throat. The coaches had reason to worry as not only the offense but the entire team seemed to play listless while the Vikings could do no wrong. While Redemptorist had dominated the first game 36-6, Northeast had completely turned the tables, and with under 4 minutes to play in the game, the Vikings led by an unbelievable 20-0 score. The coaches encouraged the Wolves to keep sawing wood and to continue to believe. Having been cleared to play just before kickoff, Rogers entered the game in the second half and led what could only be described as one of the most incredible comebacks in Louisiana history. With only 3:38 left on the clock, the Wolves finally got on the scoreboard. Rogers connecting with Taryn Scott. The onside kick failed, but the Black D stepped up and forced a 3-and-out. Rogers again got points on the board with Torrin Dixon making an acrobatic catch in the back of the end zone. This time, the onside kick worked. And with 57 seconds on the clock, the Wolves needed to go 48 yards with no timeouts to complete the miracle. They would do just that, with Dixon catching his second touchdown, this time fighting off 2 defenders to tie the score with no time left. Michael Browning calmly kicked his third extra point, setting off pandemonium on the field. Following the game, Torrin stated, "We worked too hard over the summer and came too far to give up. We just kept working hard, and we're blessed tonight." The strength of the Wolf is definitely the Pack.
We never lay down.
Coach Mistretta stressed to his players that they had earned a second chance, something that normally does not happen in the playoffs. He challenged the Pack to make the most of its second chance, work even harder, and accomplish their goal of winning the state championship. After surviving the Northeast scare and pulling off victory on the game's final play, the Wolves were ready and focused to get back to business. Coach Mistretta stressed all week it was time to forget about the Northeast game, for in the playoffs, the competition only gets stronger. That would definitely be the case with a very dangerous Lutcher team coming to the Rock. It was obvious during the week the Wolves were prepared to move on.
Hit it 100 miles per hour and score. Let's go.
They were determined not to let anything or anyone stand in their way. An aggressive offensive game plan coupled with a dominating defense performance allowed the Pack to dominate the perennial power Bulldogs. Brandon Bravada made a difficult catch in the end zone to get the Wolves on the board early. Brent Grimes then saw an opening on the first play of the second quarter and threw a perfect pass to Darrell Glasper for a touchdown on a successful fake punt. The fake seemed to take the life out of the visitors, and the Black D continued to bring pressure, holding the Bulldogs to minus 14 yards rushing on the night. Justin Rogers finished the night with 2 touchdowns passing and another on the ground to go along with a rushing touchdown by Grimes, giving the Wolves 5 scores by 5 different players. A complete game by all 3 phases of the team led Redemptorist back to the semifinals with a 35-13 victory.
I love y'all. We're gonna keep whooping their tail too. Number 1. Right here, baby. Number 80. Right here, baby.
While the Wolfpack prepared for a road semifinal against Benton, it was difficult for the Wolfpack Nation not to look ahead to a possible rematch with Notre Dame as the Pios faced Independence on the other side of the bracket. Fortunately, the team was not looking ahead. And riding an 11-game win streak, they made the long trip north of Shreveport determined to take care of business. While the Wolves dominated statistically in the first half, they only managed to score 1 touchdown and a safety to match Benton's lone field goal. Entering the locker room, up 9-3 at the break. Spirits, though, were down. But following a motivated plea by seniors Justin Rogers and Brent Grimes, the Wolves would come out in the second half in attack mode, both offensively and defensively. Redemptorist would score twice in the first 5 minutes of the second half to take a 24-3 lead. The Wolfpack would then grind the ball out the rest of the way, controlling the clock, with Grimes rushing for 168 yards. The Black D continued to dominate in the second half, completely shutting down the Tigers. Led by seniors Johnny Hollins and Lionel Tank Robertson, the defense would hold Benton to an incredible -2 yards of total offense and only 2 first downs for the game. The 31-3 victory guaranteed the Wolfpack Nation a spot in the state title game, its 4th trip in 6 years. Before leaving the field, the Wolves would learn that Notre Dame had indeed defeated Independence, setting up a rematch in the championship game. It could not have been scripted any better. On the long bus ride home from Shreveport, both players and coaches had already forgotten their semifinal victory. The buzz on the buses was all Notre Dame. After 14 weeks of football, the 3A title would come down to the same 2 teams who began the year ranked on top. It would be a rematch from week 2 in which number 1 Notre Dame had defeated number 2 Redemptorist by a 16-7 score. The Wolfpack Nation would not only look to win its 3rd title in 4 years, but would look for redemption as well. Due to the effects of Hurricane Katrina, the state championship games would be moved from the Superdome for the first time in 25 years. The Independence Bowl in Shreveport would be the site of the 3A game, played on a Thursday night.
We're going double wedge right. If it's over there on those numbers, bend it just
The
a little bit.
Wolves were
Cheat over it all the
fortunate
way.
in that they had already traveled to Shreveport the week before, and the experience would prove valuable as they traveled north yet again. With the temperature reading 28 degrees at kickoff and a wind chill of 14, the Wolves would not allow the weather nor the Pios to keep them from their goal. Knowing that this game, like the first, would be determined by field position, the Wolves were shocked when a turnover on the first possession led to a Notre Dame touchdown just 4 minutes into the game. Darrell Glasper would, however, make a big first play of the night for the Wolves, blocking the PAT, his 6th of the season. Glasper would also block a field goal in the second quarter, leaving the Pack trailing just 6-0 at halftime. The mood in the locker room was surprisingly calm as Coach Mistretta assured the Wolves that if they kept plugging away, something would surely break in their favor. The defense had taken control of the Pios, and quarterback Justin Rogers encouraged and challenged the offense to step up in the second half, reminding them about unity, teamwork, and the strength of the Pack. The field position battle continued in the second half, only this time it was the Wolves who would eventually and gradually gain the advantage. The first big play would not come until the 4th quarter, when Rogers, with only 8 minutes remaining, finds his favorite target, Torrin Dixon, in the back of the end zone for a 28-yard score. A missed PAT left the score tied at 6-6. The Black D, which would allow a championship game record 8 yards in the second half, stepped up on the next possession when Reggie Weems intercepted a Notre Dame pass, returning it to the Pios' 28-yard line. Seven plays later, Rogers rolled to his right and just before running out of bounds, found Terrence Scott for a diving 13-yard touchdown. Michael Browning's successful extra point, and Redemptorist had their first lead 13-6 with 3:34 remaining. In a game dominated by the best defenses in the state, it would be the Wolves' defense that would put the finishing touches on the game, holding Notre Dame to a 3-and-out and forcing the Pios to punt. The offense then successfully ran out the clock, claiming the school's 3rd title in the last 4 years. As the Wolfpack Nation awoke from their celebration, the headline in the Shreveport Times summed the game up perfectly in one word: redemption. The 2005 Louisiana high school football season will be one that many people will never forget because of all the changes and adversity surrounding so many of its teams due to Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. The Wolfpack Nation will definitely never forget 2005 and everything it gave them, including a very rewarding victory over Catholic High in the Jamboree, an unfortunate yet character-building opening loss to Notre Dame, and an emotional triumph over Parkview for the district championship, the playoff game against Northeast, and the clock reading that no one will ever forget, 3:38. Holding Benton to -2 yards total offense in the semifinals, the bitterly cold trip north to Shreveport for that title game, and of course, beating Notre Dame at their own game, not only for the championship, but for redemption as well. While the Wolfpack Nation wishes this outstanding senior class success as they move on to other challenges, don't expect the Wolves to get caught up in celebrating this victory for too long, as they have already begun preparing for the 2006 season. With the underclassmen chomping at the bit to take their shot at claiming another state championship for Redemptorist High School, it would benefit them to always remember the lessons learned in 2005, characterized by the team motto, "The strength of the wolf is the pack."